Give me 10 minutes and I'll show you what it typically takes to get an open reel deck repaired and restored, using the Akai GX-255 open reel deck as an example. I'll give you years of knowledge in less than 10 minutes. There's a lot to cover, so let's get started. First, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the specifications for the Akai GX-255. It was produced by Akai from 1979 to 1982. It's an auto-reverse 4-track 2-channel open reel deck. It contains 4 heads, 1 record, 1 erase, and 2 playheads. 1 playhead for forward and 1 playhead for reverse play. It accepts reels up to 7 inches in diameter. It has 2 tape speeds, 3 3/4 inches per second and 7.5 inches per second. At 7.5 IPS, the frequency response of this Akai GX-255 is 30 Hz to 24,000 Hz. It weighs about 35 pounds and it retailed for $650. What you see here, that picture with the tape threaded through it, that's exactly the way I got it. Don't leave your tapes on them like this and go store them. Take them off. Take them off. Rewind it, fast forward it, do whatever you got to do and take those tapes off, put them back in the boxes, and put the unit away without tapes in it. The tape path is a real mess here. A lot of tape decks are, though. This is why I'm showing it. The first thing you do with any reel-to-reel is you're going to clean the tape path. But this one's really a mess, and part of that is from the tape being left on it. I mean, they were stuck like glue. So again, do not leave your tape in your reel-to-reel. Here I've removed the pinch roller, and you can tell again, man, what a mess, huh? How could you expect this thing to work? How long's that been on there? 5 years? 15? 25? We'll never know. There's cleaning and conditioning fluids available, as well as head cleaners. So you should use those and use some Q-tips and get to work. They'll really clean up and look pretty decent. And actually the rubber on this pinch roller felt pretty good. Felt pretty pliable. You know, it didn't feel like it was going to crack in half on me. So I felt pretty good about that. It's usually easier to lay a open reel deck down. You know, lay it on its back and it'll be easier to clean the heads. Makes sense, right? You know, you sit there and you look straight into it instead of looking up underneath it. This reel-to-reel certainly could lay down on its back easily, and most of them can. And if you can do that, it'll be a lot easier to clean that tape path up. But can you see that mess? It's unbelievable. It's almost unbelievable that this stuff, this crap is all over the heads, all over the tape guides, all over every part of the tape path of this GX-255. It's going to take a while. It just is. You know, you've got to keep cleaning with your Q-tips until they're perfectly clean, and this is going to take a while. Now, I use Laser Media head cleaner, but there's a lot of good brands out there. It doesn't matter. Just use something that's made for tape heads, and then you're going to be in good shape to clean the tape path. As long as your Q-tips keep looking messy, you just keep going. You just keep cleaning, you keep cleaning, and you keep cleaning, and you keep cleaning, and eventually, holy smokes, all that stuff actually is starting to come off, and you're getting somewhere with it. You get it all cleaned up, and the first thing you're going to do is do some bench testing, right? Because we couldn't even try it before. The tape was stuck. The heads looked like that. You think that was going to work? No. And then now it's time to just give it a shot and see what it does. But actually, before I did that, I did have it opened, and I thought, well, let me deoxit the pots and the switches. And, you know, here's a little tip about deoxit. You see how that straw is bent in the picture? It's about a 90 degree. You can bend those straws any way you want. So when you go through a can, keep your straw, because then you can have straws for every situation, and you can get into spots impossible to get in with a straight straw. I clean those up. You know, another thing about the deoxit too, get it in the switch. Don't just open it up and start spraying. It's a wonderful product, but I've mentioned this before. It can make a horrible mess. It's just going to be the best dirt collector you've ever seen if you get that all over the chassis. You can get a little bit, and most of the time you can wipe that up, but just don't spray it all over the place. One cool thing about this deck, it's direct drive. There is no rubber capstan belt to worry about. Don't have one. That's nice, right? You know, because a deck this old, you're always going to have to change out the capstan belt. That was nice. So I de-oxed everything. I got the tape path cleaned up. I took a look at it. I thought I could power it up and see what happens. Well, powered it up and it would not engage into forward or reverse play. And I did some troubleshooting and I found out that the bridge rectifier, the schematic D35 that supplies the DC voltage to the rear motors was bad. And also that was causing fuse F4 to blow. But like I said, it's so hard. That was this unit's case. There may never be another unit that anybody else works on that has this exact same problem. But I just mention it because it was unusual and maybe it'll help somebody down the road. I didn't have a direct replacement, but I do have some bridge rectifiers in stock. It was a different shape, but it certainly would work out for me. I had to do a little leg bending, but it certainly fit in there fine, and I felt good. That was a good replacement. And sometimes you got to do that, right? You couldn't call up Akai and get a replacement part. They don't make them no more. So you sometimes have to get by with something other than OEM parts. So okay, I got it powered up. Geez, it goes into forward and reverse play both. That part seemed to work fine. And I started doing a little testing. I just had low audio on the right channel during playback. I took a tape that I recorded on one of the other machines and just stuck it in there and let's see what it does. And the audio was very low. Well, I took a look at the schematic and here's where I'm going to talk about those transistors. If your unit, and it doesn't have to be a reel-to-reel, it happens to be in a reel-to-reel. I have these two SC458 transistors. If you see them, they've got to go. They just do. All of them. They have, over the years, they're just known troublemakers and need to be replaced. I had to replace some in a Marantz 2270 receiver also. And they're in a lot of different pieces of equipment from this era. So if you see those, or if you have some kind of either noisy audio, low audio, no audio, in whatever piece of equipment you've got, see if you've got some of these 2SC458 transistors, and those will have to be replaced. I removed the bottom panel so I could get to the artwork side of the assembly. You know, reel-to-reels, you can take off all of their different panels and you can usually get to them without having to remove too much stuff. So I had to take the bottom panel off just so I could get to the solder side of those transistors. Once I could get to those, I was able to remove them and I replaced them with two SC1845s. So out of curiosity, I've got some test equipment that'll test the gains of transistors. So, you know, I had them all out on the table and I just, what the heck? Let's see what they do. And they were all over the place. Some of them were 98, some of them were 350, some of them were 230, some complete difference between all of them. So you could see why it was affecting the audio. At least 6 of them were out of spec and all of them were probably going to get out of spec. There's no piece of equipment, including this Akai GX-255, that would perform at its best without these transistors being replaced. After I replaced those transistors, it sounded good. The audio, both forward and reversed, worked. Rewind and fast forward work, so I felt pretty good to move on. And so I went ahead and I cleaned up the faceplate and the control knobs. It's just another one of those things you expect with vintage audio. It's just been decades since those knobs have been off and there's dirt everywhere. So you just get in there and they're pretty easy to clean up. I got most of the unit back together again. Right, got the faceplate on, just about ready to get the knobs back on and the head cover and about ready to go here. Then I did a little bit of recording with it. Worked fine, played it back, sounded really good. The fast forward and the rewind were strong. I mean, I felt real good about it. I've got the Akai GX-255, the one you saw in the video, up on the test bench. I'm doing some listening with it with a set of headphones. And I'm going to hit the fast forward. There she goes. She's looks pretty strong there. I'm going to hit the stop button and see how she stops. Quite well. Let's go in reverse just a little bit here. It also looks pretty darn good. There, yeah. She stops well. So I'm going to hit the reverse. Takes her a second to change over. Yeah, and there she goes, right? Clockwise. Playing in reverse. So I'll hit the stop button again. The reels ought to go counterclockwise when I forward play now. And there she goes, yeah. Works good. Reverse again. Yeah. A stopper. You don't have to stop, you know, between these modes. This deck's 40 years old. Just give it a break. But remember how this tape path, what a mess it was? Holy smokes, right? I can't show you really up under the heads, I don't think. But, I mean, she cleaned up like you think she was taking care of the last 40 years, huh? And she sounds like it, too. I can tell you what most likely happened with this open reel deck. At some point in time, that bridge rectifier failed, and the reels didn't move. So that explains why it was probably put away with a tape on it, but you saw what happened when you do that. But before that bridge rectifier failed, you can almost be sure that those 458 transistors had started to fail. And probably what happened, these 458 transistors had been going bad through the years at different rates at different times, but at least the deck's still powered up. Well, when that bridge rectifier failed, that was the end of that. And of course, that was the end of the deck. The people put it away. But by me fixing that bridge rectifier and then noticing that low audio, you can almost guarantee that those 458 transistors were causing problems long before that bridge rectifier failed. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a big thumbs up down below. If you're not a subscriber and you'd like to keep seeing videos like this, please subscribe. And to my present subscribers, thank you so much for sticking with me. Y'all have a good day.